I am the Executive Director for the Center of Excellence for Aerospace and Advanced Manufacturing. We're housed and hosted by Everett Community College, but as you all know, we are a resource to all 34 community and technical colleges. You're probably wondering, so how does aerospace fit in with energy and construction? Well, we are part of the WISE grant, the Washington Integrated Sector Employment Grant, and we are starting to embrace mechatronics. How many of you know what mechatronics is? Just a show of hands. Great. A few of you do. It's going to be huge. It's all about automation and robotics, so tune into that. I have a very nice panel here. To my left is Melinda Nichols, who has been a part of the Tiny House project. She's going to talk about, our panel is actually focused on the innovative best practice programs that are in our community colleges, listening to the needs of industry. But these particular programs that we're going to be featuring today not only are regionally recognized, but nationally as well. And they have received funds not only from the state level, but also the federal level. So they're going to talk about their innovative best practice programs. So as I said, Melinda Nichols is going to focus on the Tiny House project. She's been involved with construction industry for the past 43 years. She has been a journey level carpenter since 1977, so a real trailblazer when you think back to 1977. She's been a member of She's been a member of the board for the Low Income Housing Institute for 20 years and has worked on the tiny houses for homeless individuals for the past few years. She's going to give a little 5-minute presentation, and then the next person is going to be Anna Bennett, who is the WISE navigator. And navigators, you will see, are very important to these particular programs. Why? Because they help our students navigate the system. Not only do they help them secure their funding, but they help them build resumes. But more importantly, they have the industry connection. So navigators help place our students then, after they've completed the programs, into the workplace. She interned at the Pacific Center Science Center through an NSF grant where the grant was called Portal to the Public, and she helped create a database for training volunteer, a pool of training volunteers. The grant helps train scientists from research centers from all over. After that, we're going to listen to Jim Graham, who is a faculty member here at Bates Technical College and a Bates graduate of their electrical construction program. So he's going to speak a little bit about his program, but is really fascinating is that he was a student. He went out into the world of work, created his own business, which is a full-service electrical contracting company that focuses on high-end custom residential and light commercial electric work based in Olympia. But think of this, he has come back now to the community college system, and he is an instructor, and he's very passionate about that. Last but not least, we're going to have Allison Pugh, who's the co-investigator, co-principal investigator for an NSF grant at South Seattle, which is responsible for expanding lifelong STEM career pathways in the sustainable building science technology, which supports their new BAS degree. So please help me welcome our esteemed panel. Oh, okay. You just click on you forward. Yeah.
Well, good morning. It's a real privilege to be here. I have been in the community college system. I've been in the construction system. I was on the Washington State Apprenticeship and Training Council for 22 years as a management representative, and I worked running and managing pre-apprenticeships for 16 years. So the construction industry is my history, and it's my love in terms of who I am. But I got involved with homelessness and low-income housing when I joined the board of the Low-Income Housing Institute, which is in Seattle, Washington. Lehigh has about 1,800 units of low-income housing up and down the I-5 corridor. But fundamentally, you can see they're very attractive. Many of them are energy efficient, and they are very recognized around the United States as we are committed to the idea that low-income housing people deserve as nice a place to live as anyone else. So what happened, as we all know, is that homelessness has really increased dramatically in King County and frankly around the United States. And what's going on is that in Seattle, for example, it's increasing by about 20% every year. And there are a variety of reasons for that we could go into, and we could spend hours trying to figure out why. One of them, of course, is economics. And we know that in Seattle, it's not very easy to rent an apartment anymore for under about $1,800. It's changed. Our whole structure has changed. So we have a lot of people that have been pushed out onto the street. One of the main organizations that is based on homeless people organizing themselves is Nicholsville. Nicholsville's been in existence for about 8 years, and it is a nonprofit, and it is homeless people who are managing themselves and trying to manage their lives. It's not easy to try to manage your life when you don't have access to a shower, when you don't have access to a house, when you're living in a tent, when you really don't know where your next meal is going to be coming from. And there's I'm not here to try to proselytize about how we should feel about homelessness. This is really more about one of the solutions that we've come up with. And that solution that we have come up with is building tiny houses. And believe me, if you've been in a tent and spent months in a tent, even an 8 by 12 tiny house with a roof on it, with a door, with a lock, with a window, it's like a whole new world. And so what's happened is that because my background was in construction and because my background was also in the community college and the pre-apprenticeship system, I said to Lehigh, why don't we ask all of these students around the state to come and help us build these houses? And they all said yes. And what we did was with Tulalip Taro, they built 8 tiny houses so far. Renton Technical College, Youth Build, ANEW, and I'm sure I'm going to forget some of these folks, SVI, Wood Construction Technology at Central have been wonderful. All of these young people built tiny houses to house homeless people. We've gotten donations for all the materials. Home Depot's given us over $50,000. Each one of them, I should move on. I'm not following this very well, am I, guys?
Okay, this is great. This is good. This is powerful.
So it's really grim, and I didn't really understand it till I went and started going to homeless encampments, and I didn't recognize or understand. I just thought, I wasn't so simple as I thought, well, why don't they just go get jobs? I was never that bad. But then they'd start to talk to me and say, we'd love to get a job. Nobody's going to hire me if I smell bad. And I can't find a shower, and I can't wash my clothes, and I can't get it together enough to be able to go get a job, even though I want to, and I had a job for 40 years before my back went out. So you find out all about different people and why they're there. One of the things, we've all heard about the jungle, right, in Seattle. People are murdered there. It's terrifying. We talk to people who are in these encampments, and they look like, who'd want to live here? Well, they'd really rather live in an encampment where they have some protection than live in the jungle, where every night they go to sleep and don't know if they'll wake up the next morning. So what at Lehigh, we have some properties, and it takes a couple of years to be able to build low-income housing with all of the work you have to do to set things up and get the loans and everything you need. So we were able to put Tiny House Village. We've had several. I'm going to get up and go out.
Oh, perfect.
Lehigh began working with Nicholsville in September of 2013, and we own the property on Jackson Street. In the city of Seattle, you have to have a religious organization that cooperates with you to do homeless encampments or tiny houses, and we worked with the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. And does anybody recognize this one? This one was on Dearborn. As you drive past I-5 and you look down right by Dearborn and there were all these pink houses, that was a Nicholsville site. Most cities don't allow these, even though they have these real crisis in homelessness and they say it's a disaster. They're not doing as much as we're doing in Seattle. And I have to credit the mayor and I have to credit a lot of the city council in Seattle who actually pay attention and say we actually have to do something real. If you want to know more, we can certainly talk more about the laws and regulations. We need tent cities because we have kids. All of the tiny house villages we have children in them. I remember building one of these tiny houses. I actually Sawhorse Revolution, a high school group built it. And a guy came to look at it, young man, and I said, well, actually this is a little bit bigger than some of our other ones, so I don't know if you'll be able to live in this one. He goes, oh, well, my wife's going to live in it with me and our 5-month-old baby. And I almost started crying, but I didn't, because he was so thrilled to be in it compared to where he had been. So what happens with these small tiny houses, they all have to be under 120 square feet because that's the legal, if you build them any bigger than that, then the inspectors come out. So what we did is we started getting community colleges, we started getting pre-apprenticeship programs to build tiny houses. This was one of our first ones. This is the Tulalip tribe. 2 of their very well-known artists designed the front doors for them. And they're doors that represent protection. And when we actually had a ceremony, one of the homeless people in the encampment is a tribal member. He is an Ojibwe. He came out and talked to the whole graduation group about the significance of what a tiny house does, that it helps the person who lives in it, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. We have lists for the tiny houses, and we give those to the folks who are doing the building. We have some wonderful, wonderful people who are your instructors for pre-apprenticeship programs, and they've helped develop these lists. They've helped come up with better strategies for how to build the houses, to make them more efficient, to make the ventilation better. We still have a ways to go. Ballard Encampments opened November 2015. It only has 5 houses. My husband and I built one for the Salal Grange. We're too old for this, just by the way. This is something that teenagers and young people, it's really great for them. Crawling in and out of these isn't as fun as it used to be. Youth built beautiful houses, and we're so pleased and so happy with the relationship that we have with that organization and their students as well. One of the things that we do is we bring homeless people to the classroom to talk to the students about what it means to be homeless. And what happens is the students say, what else can we do? All of them. So at Ballard, this is a City of Seattle owned property. Actually, I think it's City Lights property. And it has just the houses in the front because they look better, and then the tents are behind them. This is a different kind. This site is owned by the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd at 22nd and Union, and they donated a 50 by 80 residential lot that they own next door to their church and said, we want you to build this, and we want real toilets, no sandy cans. We want real showers. We want electricity. So we said, fine. We'll raise the money somewhere. All of these are built by pre-apprenticeship or construction programs in King County, except for the Tulalips who are in Snohomish County. And you can see this is wood construction technology at Central. They built all the stairs. These 2 restrooms are built by Sawhorse Revolution, a high school training group in King County. Their high school kids built this. I could identify, Anu built the ones in the back, Sawhorse built that one, Renton Technical College built the 2 that are next to those, and they're all beautifully done and lovingly done. So this is Sawhorse Revolution. They build really quirky ones. And that's another thing, you learn a lot doing these because some of them they built were too tall and you can't get them down the street, and that was a little awkward. The Presbyterian Church built 2, the Tulalip Tribe, Wood Technology, Seattle Vocational Institute, ANU, Renton Technical College, and Walsh Construction built 2 as well, and they painted them. We said we liked them to fit into the neighborhood, so what do we get? Yeah, well, it's a football team, but still, nobody was upset by it, I have to say. They liked it. And then many of the volunteers, these folks are homeless, and the homeless people who live there, they volunteered too. This woman grew up in Issaquah in a 4,000 square foot house, and she's living here now, and she's happy to be there because she was in a tent. Othello Village is our biggest village, and because I don't know why we decided to go Caribbean with the colors on this one, but we did. And they're very festive. They're about 23 now. And these are volunteers. We've had hundreds of volunteers, like maybe 300 or 400, who have come to help work on these sites. And it makes everybody feel great. And this is Othello. We get people to paint them. One of these was, the money was collected by a 7th grade class. And they paid for one to be built. And we have tents, but they're being replaced by tiny houses. So we work with our sponsors. We provide services, so we don't just leave people there. We make sure that they have access to social services and make sure we've moved many people on, I think, to jobs. At least 30 people have moved on to permanent housing. And this is the kind of thing we get help with food, transportation. Sometimes we have money that we've been given from the government. If people live in a location far away and have family, we will send them home because it's better for them. It's not like we're trying to ship them out of Seattle, because that used to be what happened. People get shipped all over. Well, they end up somewhere. What are you going to do with them when they get there? So this is this was in the Seattle Times. We got a lot of these tiny houses for the homeless. Where will we put them? That's our big problem, is location. And of course, around the state, we're getting calls from, I talked to people from Kitsap County yesterday. Aberdeen is very interested. Many, many people. We have Quixote Village down near Olympia, but that's a much more expensive proposition. But it's a wonderful, wonderful small house site. So I've talked more than I should. When I start talking about tiny houses, it's hard. You need a hook to get me off the stage, but thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Anna Bennett. I am the WISE project, now navigator, used to be coordinator at Renton Technical College. We are a partnership with Lehigh, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that and how it fits into the grant, as well as how it fits into our construction trades preparation program. So I figured I'd start off with a picture. This was our first tiny house that we built in the first class that did so. We should have started this week. I haven't been on campus yet with our second quarter. So we built our construction trades preparation program, built one last quarter, and or 2 quarters ago, sorry, fall quarter. And our property management program built the other. So we're excited to start in on our second project. We can move forward. So this is a big partnership. The WISE grant is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor. So this particular part of the WISE grant is housed at Renton Technical College. And we are also, as Melinda mentioned, partnering with Lehigh. So I figured I'd go very briefly over what WISE is. We've talked about it a little bit. I'm not sure about people's familiarity, but it is a U.S. Department of Labor TACT Round 4 grant. We were given $10 million by the U.S. Department of Labor. It involves 8 Washington colleges, 3 centers of excellence, 1 workforce development council, and some industry partners. We were all given this money to support innovative education in the construction, advanced manufacturing, and clean energy sectors. So at Renton Technical College, we focus on the construction aspects, which is why I'm talking about construction trades preparation today. So I believe Melinda had this photo in her presentation as well, so you can see in the background our 2 houses Institute right there. I believe that, so they've been there since I think January, and I think we've had 2 or 3 families already cycling through them and moving on in their lives and experiences. So that's really great to hear. So what is Construction Trades Preparation Program? I call it CTP. I'll probably use that acronym moving forward. So it's Construction Trades Preparation again. It is a 1-quarter certificate. Students from this program feed into 2 separate programs, our welding program and our MART program. They split halfway through the quarter, and our MART program, the largest part of their learning in the second part of the quarter is by building this tiny house. So they have this summative project, which is the tiny house. And I'll talk about what it used to look like and now what it looks like after our partnership with Lehigh. So here's one of our students working hard. So the old model of our summative project was that the students generally built a shed, and it was never quite finished. They never put the finishing touches on it. They just kind of learned the basics. And then once they were done building it, they had to tear it down and the materials were discarded. Which is killing Melinda. So what's the new model? The new model is that they build a tiny home for Lehigh, and to use addressing our Seattle-based, our Seattle area homeless crisis that we're in, which is really, really cool. So she mentioned that the materials are donated to Lehigh from Home Depot, I believe. And the students complete the structure and they get to actually finish it. So they're seeing their creation and they don't just tear it apart at the end and throw it in the dumpster, which is really, really cool, I think. So we're going green and helping our community at the same time, which I think is really cool. So here they are raising one of the walls. And then this is the last slide that I've got. One of our students is a Navy veteran, and veterans are one of our target populations that we'd like to serve through the WISE grant. So he is a veteran looking for his second career after retiring. And he became the kind of student foreman on the project. He's the tall gentleman on the left. His name is Dean. And he recently received a statewide leadership and service award, which was a shared scholarship that he received $2,500, I believe Lehigh received $2,500, and RTC received $2,500 due to their work. So he, Melinda had the budget for the tiny houses, and so that $2,500 that's coming in can pay for another tiny house. So he built a tiny house and then wrote about it and paid for another tiny house, which we think is really, really cool. So that's what I've got. I'd love to take questions at some point about how it fits into the grant or to our students' education.
So this is fabulous. Thank you so much. So we're going to open it up now to the audience. Do we have any questions about the tiny house? Oh, project, great. Anthony. Oh.
Yeah, sure.
So was Dean supported by the WISE grant?
What was that?
Was Dean supported by WISE money?
Yes, he absolutely was.
And you will, of course, be gathering all that information about him and putting it together into a success story that we'll, of course, be sharing with the Department of Labor.
Absolutely.
Good to hear.
It's a beautiful one.
Spoken like a true project manager. Good job.
Any other questions?
All right.
I have a question. So how long does it actually take? I'm guessing, what, a quarter or for the students to actually build the home? And is it the same amount of time if they build it in a community college or if, like, say, a new takes on the project? What is the average length of time to build these homes?
It is a quarter project because what happens is they get taught about materials lists, they get taught about blueprints, and so generally speaking, it's a quarter. If you just went out and built one, you probably could do it in 3 or 4 days, but not with all of the learning and all of the all of the experience that's needed.
So this is so fabulous because not only are the students learning, but it's giving back to the community, and the empathy that is learned, the empathy for the homeless, I think is absolutely a wonderful model. This is a great project. You're really to be commended on this.
Well, we really loved working with Renton in particular. They really embraced this in ways we couldn't believe. They had a big celebration. They asked us to bring homeless people from Nicholsville to speak. They were they were a wonderful boost to the Nickelodeons. That's what they call themselves. And they were fabulous.
That's fabulous. Shana, did you have a question? Oh.
Melinda, are tiny house future residents being asked to help do some sweat equity similar to
Yes,
what
they
happened?
are. They're required to work on a tiny house project before they're allowed to move in. Very similar to Habitat for
Right,
Humanity,
right.
but much, it's much smaller scale.
And just quick second question, I don't know if it is quick answer. What kind of pushback have you gotten from the communities? I know not everyone loves tiny houses or other encampments, and how have you been educating residents about why tiny houses are great for their community?
That's a great question. Everybody's heard about NIMBY, not in my neighborhood, and we have that experience not just with tiny houses or with tents, but with urban rest stops, which are places where homeless people can take a shower and wash their clothes. We have several of those in Seattle. We're one of the only cities that has them. And people, they struggle against it. They may not understand it, or they picture that it'll lower their property values. And it takes some communication and work, but it also takes good examples. And it also takes, if you look at 22nd and Union and how it looks and how people are acting, then they say, oh, I guess it's not so bad. Yeah, okay, I think we're okay with it. But I would say also that there are plenty of neighbors, when we worked on those, that would come over with cookies, that would come over with coffee, that would say, we're so happy to have you here. So it's always a mixed bag.
Great project. Melinda, you stated that you needed to have a partnership with faith-based institutions. So what type of zoning? Is it a zoning issue, or can you explain that a little more?
Yeah, it's not a zoning issue with the faith-based organizations. It's a requirement to have an encampment and the rules change in every city and in every county. So you have to look in your own in your own town to determine how often people have to move. For example, if you're in a tent encampment, in many places, you have to move every 3 months. Well, we couldn't have a tiny house village that had to move that often, or it just would be impossible. So every place is different, and some have requirements for faith-based organizations as partners, some may not.
So for the construction prep, for the MART and welding pathways, is another one to go into apprenticeship? Are you trying to develop those articulations as well?
Yes, we are. We're currently working on that, and we're very excited to get that going on Renton's main campus. We do have the really big privilege of working with Tulip. They are also, the Tulip Terror program is part of our the WISE grant, and so I believe you mentioned they've built 8 this quarter. They built 4. They just went to their graduation, and so they are all college to apprenticeship, and then we're working really hard to get that going on Renton Technical College's main campus as well.
Anna, what is the MART program? I don't know what that stands for.
Sorry. Yeah, I use a lot of acronyms without realizing it. It's Major Appliance and Refrigeration Technology.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to have Jim Graham talk about his program.
Hi, my name's Jim Graham. I'm an electrical construction faculty member here at Bates Technical College. As Mary Kay also mentioned, I am a graduate of the program. I enrolled here in 2002. I did some research. I'd worked in a couple of other industries prior to deciding to become an electrician. I did some research on my own about how to get into the trade. I was specifically interested in being a very good electrician, just not an average electrician. And through my research, I determined that enrolling at a technical college to start my career in the electrical trade was the best way for me to acquire the foundation of knowledge that I believe to be important before getting my hands on the tools, on a 40-hour work week basis. So I live in Olympia. Bates Technical College has, as you all know, I'm a member of an electrical construction program here. And so I enrolled here in 2002, started in the program with my colleagues currently, who were my instructors at the time. It's an honor to be back here, contributing to the program that launched me into a successful career as an electrician. So thank you to my colleagues. So Bates Technical, I borrowed Energized in the Future there. Hope that's all right. we are looking ahead, and we are energizing daily. So this is us, a glimpse of our sign out front of our department there. So a little bit about our program. So we are one of the legacy programs at Bates Technical College. This is our 75th year for the electrical program. We were part of industrial education early on, and then shifted to electrician program, and then the current electrical construction title that we currently have. So we are technically in our 75th year of offering electrical training at Bates Technical College, which I'm extremely proud to be a part of that. So our program is an 01 general electrician-based program. We have a complete program that starts from the fundamentals, goes all the way through to industrial, and we are currently pursuing new technologies as well. Our program is guided by a technical advisory board, which is a mix of professionals, experts, and industry stakeholders. Our outcomes include electricians in all license categories. One of the strengths of our program, I believe, is that our students, including myself as a past student, have the opportunity to enroll in our program and be exposed to all the different facets of the electrical field. For those of you that work in the electrical field or are familiar, it's a vast field. It goes all the way from screwing in a CFL in a home up to hydroelectric power generation. So there are a lot of opportunities and fun. So our graduate outcomes include electricians in all license categories, utility electricians, electrical inspectors, electrical engineers, electrical contractors, trade school instructors, and degree transfers. So there's a great opportunity within our program to get started and launch into any direction that our graduates choose. So we train for employment through work skills development. Our current staff, we were going over the math yesterday. I'm second on the totem pole. We have a combined electrical experience of 100 years within our department, which is pretty astounding. I'm glad to be a part of that. We promote and teach safe work practices based on OSHA and WSHA standards and guidelines. A strong component of our program is workmanship. We're not just generating average electricians, but we're striving to generate excellent electricians, and pride and craftsmanship is a large part of that. We're craftspersons. Punctuality, I like that, love that slogan. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're fired. That's an excellent motto to live by. It's a great way to keep your job. I love that. I remember where that came from. That was Walla Walla Wentech. Bravo, James. As well as attitude. We promote an atmosphere of being solution-oriented and team-oriented as well. It's easy to get caught up in what we can't do. If you focus on what you can do, you can accomplish that, and that's something we try to promote within our program, as well as a team atmosphere. We look out for each other in the field as well as in the classroom. We're committed to our community. We have a strong partnership with Habitat for Humanity. We provide, our carpentry program provides construction assistance, and then our program provides wiring through a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, which is something we're definitely proud to be a part of and invested in our community. We promote and teach environmentally responsible job site practices. Recycling, especially in our trade, we deal with a lot of materials that can be recycled, either recycled or reused. Something I'm proud of and we're proud of, and and the resourcefulness of one of my students that figured out how to get in here today with a badge. He, as well as some other students, expanded our recycling program recently. We're very proud of those guys. They took this task on all on their own. We've recycled from the beginning, but we've now implemented a system with even greater detail. So we promote and practice detailed waste separation and recycling. Engagement with employers, which is ultimately what our students are looking for when they arrive at our program, is an employment in the electrical field. Bates Technical College has quite a few resources and conduits between our classroom and employers. And these include a career navigator who's dedicated to connecting student graduates with employers within the community. WISE staff, which Anna so eloquently described previously. We have WISE staff who are critical to the support of our students. It's a very, very good use of tax dollars. They help our students in professional development, making contacts once they get into the field, and they also provide our graduates with 9 months of support after graduation. Resume building, contacts, communication, soft skill development. They're critical, I believe, to our program's success. We also have an iBest instructors within our campus, one in our program, and through iBest, our iBest instructors are assisting to help our students reach a level of academic achievement, professional development, and soft skills. We host job fairs regularly on campus. One of our partners is Boeing. And you're seeing I actually forgot to finish this slide. We have quite a few other job fair partners as well. Looking to the future, which was a lot about what yesterday was about, I'm personally very excited about. It's an incredible time to be working in the energy field, in particular as an electrician. So technological relevance is something that's important to our program. We're always looking for opportunities to grow our program with the industry as well. So a recent project we broke ground on, we applied for and received a grant to install a small solar array in front of our department, which will power lighting for our department sign and some pathway lighting. So our students are excited about it, and we're excited about it as well. And I included a little chart here that shows in Washington State, between 2014 and 2015, we had a 48% increase in installed solar power, which is a huge jump within 1 year. And I'm definitely out of my league here. There are some lofty experts in this field, so hopefully that is accurate. That came from, I'm sure it is, it came from SEIA, Solar Energy Industry Association. There's my car. I came here on electron power, and I'll head home on electron power. I purchased Nissan Leaf a couple of years ago, and it's been an excellent vehicle. I talked about EVs and reduction in emissions and what our energy future looks like in Washington, and our governor is very interested in EV infrastructure, charging infrastructure. So I'm personally interested as well to have more opportunities to charge my car wherever I want to go. That's Bates Technical College Electrical Construction. So
great, thank
proud
you.
to be a part of it.
Do we have some questions for Jim in the back?
So when your students start the program, are they getting their training card right when they start, so then their hours can count towards their 061A?
That's a very informed question. Yes, they are.
Good.
Yes, all of our students are required to have an 01 EL01 electrical trainee card when they start our program. That's another one of the great benefits of our program. Not only are they getting an academic credential, but they're also gaining trainee hours, which is what I'm sure your question is leading to. Our program, our graduates receive half of their hours towards either their EL01 card, or they can apply half of the hours towards one of the specialty cards.
2,000?
Correct. 4,000 towards the EL01 and 2,000 towards EL02, for example.
So is each, like if you're training somebody for the utility electrician, are they going to get more hours towards it than if the person, getting their for their electrical contractors or whatever? Is it all 2,000 hours?
All of our students get the same education. It's like I said, it's very well rounded, and they can apply that education. Our students, including myself, I identified a part of the electrical market that interested me, and I believe it would provide good job stability as well as opportunity as a business owner. and that's the high-end residential market and light commercial market. So our students get the same training hours at graduation, and they can apply those towards whichever card or direction they'd like to go in the field.
See, because at Walla Walla, we only get 1,260 if they graduate from the electrical, but 1,475 from the HVAC program.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just varies. So I didn't know if you guys varied at all.
Yeah, I mean that's probably your agreement with Washington State. That's regulated by L&I.
Mm-hmm.
We are an ELO1 program, and those are the hours that we're allowed to grant.
Right. Right. Thanks.
Good question. Anybody else?
So you didn't mention apprenticeship. Does your training program articulate to either inside wire or line worker apprenticeships?
So we currently do not have any formal articulation agreements, but a large majority of our students do move into apprenticeships, either into the NJATC. One of the locals here. There are a few different locals, and some of our graduates end up at CITC as well in their apprenticeship. So no formal articulation agreement at this time, but we have a long and strong history relationship with the IBEW and the NJATC.
So I'm going to put Jim on the spot for a minute. I need to jump in here. You heard Sean Murphy yesterday talk about the Camo to Commerce project with JBLM. So as we looked at that, what happened is Pacific Gas and Electric in Northern California came to the Center of Excellence, to Camo to Commerce, to JBLM. They wanted to run their California program in Washington State. So I said, sure, if we get our Washington utilities to the table and our Washington community colleges. So Bates was selected to run that program, and primarily because of the electrical construction program. So
That's fantastic. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Allison.
My name is Allison Pugh, and I'm not on the program actually. Vicki Hardy is on the program. She's our lead faculty for the Sustainable Building Science Technology bachelor's degree, but she was called away by our president of the college to do another presentation somewhere else, so you got me today. So I'm here today to talk to you about this new degree. It's a Bachelor's of Applied Science. First, a little bit about South Seattle. We're one of 3 colleges in the Seattle district. We serve about 50,000 students total, and our program in particular is located in the Georgetown campus, which is a branch campus of South Seattle College, which is in West Seattle, and a very industrial part of the city, lots going on there. And we house one of the largest apprenticeship training centers as well in the Northwest. We have over 63 programs, and so a bustling campus with a lot going on. And our Bachelor of Applied Science, the SBST, I'll say for short now, is offered there, as well as our professional technical teacher training program that we have. I'm not going to go through this whole slide, but a Bachelor of Applied Science is a pretty unique offering to this state. Only about half the states across the nation have these types of degrees, and where they're allowed, community colleges are allowed to offer bachelor's degrees. And so we started doing that in our state in about 2005. South Seattle's been on the board at the very beginning with our hospitality management degree. And the SBST program was approved in 2013, and we had our first cohort start in 14 the following year. And so that means we're actually having our first graduating class this year, which we're very excited about. In spring, we're going to have about 13 students walk across the stage in this program. And this has grown in Washington State. Currently, there are about 55 of these types of degrees being offered in our state. The history, South Seattle's been at the table with labor and industry for a long time, at the nexus of sustainability, construction, and energy. And through those conversations, we've had lots of short-term training programs, lots of different grants scattered throughout the years. And through those conversations, there's been a voicing the need for an established higher-level program in building, management, and operations. And so that's where this came from. And we have a very close relationship with our industry partners. and they actually helped us develop our degree outcomes directly. We had a meeting in 2013 where we had 40 participants there, and they helped craft the 17 degree outcomes that we have for the degree. These include lots of different things. Writing and communication was a big theme. In fact, we had some folks yesterday talk about how important communication is as a skill in this arena. Of course, the built environment. There's lots in the program about that, building systems and components, how they interact. And then technical computer skills, data management, data analysis. And these outcomes for the program informed all of our course development. And what's interesting about, something unique about our program is that we actually give credit for prior learning experience, up to 10 credits, so students can submit a portfolio to receive this credit. And we offer 9 credits of internship, which is also unique because a lot of programs will just put an internship class at the end of the program. And our internship classes are woven throughout and integrated throughout the program, a full 9 credits. And again, this was at the behest of industry, who said, we need people who have real-world experience and who have experience in the world of this industry. And so our students get that, and that helps them on the other side of the pipeline trying to get jobs. And then they do a capstone project at the end of the program where they're synthesizing all of their learnings into a project of their choosing. And so I've talked about this. You know, it's not that unusual to have a close relationship with industry at the community college level, but for a bachelor's degree, it is. Not all bachelor's degrees at the university level are developed in this way. We are a degree for the working professional. That makes us also a little bit different. So you can work full-time and get this, go through this program. I wouldn't say easily, but it's doable. And we're hybrid, 80% online, and we have Saturday classes once a month. And we also have project teams and so on make up the rest of the work. Again, I talked about the prior learning experience. Another unique aspect is that we are articulating directly with apprenticeship. How could we not? Because Georgetown is such a large apprenticeship training center. And so what happens there is if a person has 6,000 hours of apprenticeship training plus 450 hours of related instruction, they can get 25 credits of general ed and apply for what's called a multi-occupational trades associate's degree, and that directly articulates into our bachelor's degree. So we're vet friendly, and we have a renowned vet center at South Seattle College campus, and we're a great value. At Seattle colleges, there's no out-of-state tuition hike for non-residents. We actually have a student from Portland who's in the program right now, and we do accept waivers for state employees as well. So another unique aspect to our degree is that we are supported by a large National Science Foundation grant, and I'm the grant director. This is a 3-year project, and I'm not going to go through all the objectives. I'll just highlight a couple that are really cool and really helping to strengthen our program. We are doing recruitment into and targeting underrepresented groups in this industry, targeting women and other types of minority populations. And I'm proud to say that our gender mix is quite high for a STEM-related engineering program, 27% right now in our cumulative, both cohorts. We like to grow that even more, but we're quite proud of that. And then ethnicity, although the numbers aren't here, the cumulative graph is here on the right, and it's about the same percentage. We have 73% white and 27% other types of ethnicity in the program, and again, quite proud of that. In STEM programs across the nation, minority representation is abysmal, so this is a good number for us. I talked already about the pathway, the multi-occupational trades degree, moving up. What we're trying to do is provide another pathway into a higher level. Many of our students have hit some kind of ceiling in their employment because they don't have a higher level degree. And so we're trying to develop as many pathways as we can to get into the bachelor's so these folks can get bachelor's degrees. And since the beginning of our program in the grant, we've developed 11 specific articulations where we had none before. Another cool thing that we're doing is we are using our community and going out there and looking at what's going on in the real world in terms of buildings and the performance of buildings. We've been blessed to be able to have a close relationship with Daryl Smith, who is the head of Global Energy Management at Microsoft. And we've also done some great tours and in-depth conversations with the Bullitt Center. Our class is actually going out there on Saturday, and Dennis Hayes is going to be there. We're so excited. So they're not just getting general tours that are available to the public. These are in-depth conversations which relate to case work that they're doing in their classes back in the classroom. And so the last thing I'm going to touch on, I think I've done pretty well, is we are working to expose other folks going down into the pipeline into high schools to what is sustainable building science technology. And so we are developing a STEM summer workshop for high school teachers specifically, but we are going to open this up to a limited number of community college instructors as well. It's a week-long institute, July 11th through the 15th. That's on the top right. The title of the institute is at the top left, Supply and Demand, Framing Energy Through Sustainable Building Science Technology. So it's 5 days, and at the end it is expected that, and we do give time for this, that folks will be developing a unit to be able to teach into the classrooms. So we're going to have a day at the Smart Building Center, and Stan Price is going to be there. He was here yesterday. And actually Susan Wickwire is going to come and talk to us. She was here yesterday from the Seattle 2030 district, and we're going to do a couple of tours as well. So we're trying to give high school teachers some different types of tools and resources that they can use to put these types of topics into their classrooms, whether it's energy, whether it's construction, whether it's building performance, whether it's tracking energy data through Portfolio Manager. That's the type of stuff that we're going to do in the Institute. And if you're interested, please let me know if you're a community college instructor, because we are still recruiting for this. And there is going to be a stipend at the end once you do the deliverable. So that's all I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Did you have any challenges at all setting up this program?
Oh, just a few. I wasn't actually on board when they first started developing the program and had to go through the state board to get it approved and all of that. But I think one of the biggest challenges that folks had is just figuring out just what the heck do you put into this type of program. There's so much out there. I mean, you're talking about buildings, you're talking about sustainability. Sustainability is huge. You're talking about energy. So you have to narrow it down to 2 years. And thankfully, we had a really great partnership with the WSU Energy Program, and they helped us with that. And also the ongoing conversations with industry that we had, which I highlighted in my presentation.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. I think we have a question in the back there. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just curious what a Bachelor of Applied Science degree can be used for.
Great question. Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on former experience. If someone coming in from high school, for example, and getting a couple of years of work experience and then going through an associate's degree and coming to this program, could go into buildings as possibly a building operator, a facilities maintenance person, something called maybe a resource conservation manager. That's another type of position. Someone with a lot of experience behind them could maybe go up into upper level supervisory management positions.
Allison, how many students came in through the apprenticeship to AAA degree routes?
Great question again. We have our first cohort, we had 5 people who came in from, they were electricians actually, which is a great related foundation to go into this degree. This year, that was our first cohort last year. This year, I believe we have 1 who's also an electrician. So we are trying to get, I think a lot of folks don't know about the multi-occupational trades degree, so we're trying to get the word out about that. So they have this experience, but they don't know that if they just add 25 credits credits of general education, they can actually get an associate's degree. So trying to get the word out about that so we can get more people into our program.
Yeah, I agree. That multi-occupational degree is the best kept secret. And what we're finding is it's sort of modeled differently throughout the system in the different colleges. But great panel. We let this go over because those best practices, if you have a best practice at your college, let us know. We'll come see you. We'll come talk to you. And you too could be on the panel next year. So thank our panel.
Yeah. Help us thank our wonderful panel. This is great. Thank you.